Oh, hi, Bob.
Hi,
Thanks.
Robert.
Hi. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to speak with me a little bit today, um, just about your Vista experience. And what I think is unique about it, I mean, at least for me, is, we do these Vista terms in like 1 year increments. So just for me personally, it's been such a great experience to work alongside you and with you. And I am very glad that you took that 6 month extension recently. Um, and I know that Hunger Free America isn't the only place that you have served. So just to start, can you maybe walk me quickly or not so quickly through your Vista experience? And maybe
Sure,
why are you leaving us? I mean,
sure, absolutely. I'd be very happy to walk you through all that. So I've approaching my 5 years total as an AmeriCorps Vista or Vista leader. And so just for context, 5 years is the term limit for Vista. That's the federal government saying if you've done it 5 years, you're done, you got to go. So to answer your last question first, that is why my term is ending. They don't let me do it anymore. So that's basically the reason why. But yes, going back to the beginning, my very first time serving as a Vista, it was just a year after graduating college, and I went to college up in Lyndonville, Vermont. And the year after I graduated, I was looking for a new experience, something to do. So I went back to my college town up there. And up there, there was a nonprofit organization named Rural Edge, which was a neighbor works organization. And they were looking for Vista members. They had two slots open, and I was very fortunate to interview and be accepted for one of the slots that they had. And their positions were designed to be pretty open-ended and based on the skill sets that the incoming vistas would have. And so with my skill set being what it was back then, they made me the technology specialist vista for their program. I did a lot of work on spreadsheets, a lot of work on newsletters, mailers, the kind of marketing stuff like that. And so I did that for a year, and that was a very great experience. Excuse me. And so that year was like I said, it was a neighbor works organization. And so basically it was an organization dedicated to helping people find affordable housing in that area. It was the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, very rural, very, not as much money in that area of the state and the country up there, very rural area. And so there was some affordable housing issues that unfortunately people had. And so that was the nature of the organization to help people find affordable housing, find affordable, and that could be apartments, that could be like buying a house, so all those good things. And my work was helping to that end with all the spreadsheets and the marketing that I did to help spread the word and increase funding for that organization. So then, a couple of years later, I was living back in my hometown of New York City, and I decided that I wanted to try to be a Vista again. And so I found an organization, well, not an organization, a governmental organization. The Department of Education here in New York City was looking to fill over a dozen VISTA positions because they were starting a new program for community schools and dedicated a whole new office to the community schools program in New York City. And so, long story short, they designated over 120 New York City public schools as community schools. And so they were trying to kick that program off the ground. And so they brought in, it was 16 Vista members, myself included. And so we began just doing all of these amazing things for the community schools team. And it was a brand new team. So really kind of just like building it off the ground, like all at once, like all the staff members, all the Vista, just kind of figuring out as we went, kind of doing all the things that needed to do, seeing what was necessary. And as it turned out, I was the only one of the 16 Vistas there who previously was a Vista, which at the time was the singular requirement to become a Vista leader. And because of the size of our program, it was mutually agreed that I should be upgraded to a Vista leader to help lead my fellow Vistas. And it was beneficial for the program to have someone in a leadership position like that. So about 2 months into my service, they officially upgraded me to my first Vista leader position there. And so I helped to manage all of the day-to-day needs of all of my fellow Vista members, which were 15 of them, and they were serving in all across the 5 boroughs, doing all sorts of different things. So they all had different needs, different wants, different desires. And so just managing all the different personalities in the room and making and having everyone come together, to, mutually beneficial for them and their service, as well as for the program, and getting everything done that needed to be done. And it was a great experience. We had lots of, we organized weekly meetings so that all of us can come together in one room, like a Vistas only club, basically, if you will. Um, and then we organized all sorts of different like days of service. We spent all sorts of time both working in like food pantries for like a day of service. We cleaned up a beach in Brooklyn one day on a day of service, which was a very cold day, but it was a very nice experience for everyone there. And then, of course, just doing all of the great work with the schools and helping all the schools there um, get everything that they needed. We were what was called an Operation AmeriCorps program. So in addition to the 16 Vistas, there were 120 AmeriCorps state and national members, each based, like every community school had its own AmeriCorps member based there. And so we acted as liaisons for those members as well. And we also had AmeriCorps and Triple C members come visit us for a 2-week period doing some green initiatives. So it was like truly a gigantic AmeriCorps program. And I think that, all of the people that we had with different skill sets and different, like VADs, different job descriptions, everyone like had their own contributions. And it was like a really great thing to see come together. And like I said, it was the first year of this program. As far as I'm aware, it's still ongoing. It's still thriving. I think they keep adding more and more community schools to the roster. And it seems to be a very successful thing here in New York, which I'm very proud of. So then, uh, fast forward another couple of years. So that
Yeah.
all of my VISTA terms have had a couple gaps in them. So just doing some other things and then coming back to it. So like just after the height of COVID, like a little bit after, when things started kind of like opening up again, things started getting moving, I decided to join VISTA again as a VISTA leader. And I found a great program all the way out west on the West Coast in Olympia, Washington, with the United Way of Thurston County. They were looking for a recruitment VISTA leader. And so I applied for the position, interviewed, and thankfully I was fortunate to get it. And obviously, still in this post COVID era, this was a fully remote position. So I stayed here in New York City, serving remotely for the program over there. An interesting dynamic with a 3-hour time zone difference, but we were able to make it work. So basically, I did recruitment work for them, in which they had about 20 or so VISTA positions to fill with both themselves and with various organizations in that area. It acted as an intermediate organization similar to Hunger Free America. And so we did as much work as we can to try to fill all the positions that we could, along with my fellow VISTA leader there who did the member engagement activities for all of the current VISTAs that we had. So we had like a dynamic duo over there. Unfortunately, the program did have some funding issues, and eventually they did have to close prematurely. And so I ended up only serving about 9 or so months over there before the program had to shut down. But with everything negative comes a positive. When that happened, I was able to transfer my service to another program by the name of Hunger Free America here in New York City, who very graciously brought me into the fold and brought me onto their team to complete my current service term that I only had a couple months left. And so when I started here, this was January of 2023. And I was brought on. It was, still kind of like figuring out what my role would be here, whether that would be continuing my recruitment work, whether that would be, doing some other things. Our program in general was definitely in flux at that point. But I decided that I saw a lot of potential here for like things to be mutually beneficial. So when my term was up in April, I re-enrolled and I stuck with Hunger Free America for another full year. And I'm very, very glad that I did, because the program really took off from there during the summer of last year, all the way through the year and then into this year. Everything just kind of skyrocketed from there. We had a whole new team of people join Hunger Free America, which was really great, and everyone has been wonderful here. We added additional VISTA leaders, namely being you, Robert. And then from there, our team of 3 VISTA leaders carried forward. We had split delegations of things that we would do. And so I got a chance to continue my recruitment work. And to answer your question about, what are some of the things I'm like the most proud of? I think my recruitment work with HFA, I think definitely is some of my proudest moments, because I know in 2023, we successfully recruited over 60 summer associates for programs, anti-hunger programs around the entire country, which was just an incredible feat and an incredible team effort. And then in addition to that, we got, a multiple dozen full year VISTA members that we, again, serving across the country, some positions with HFA, some positions with our partnered organizations, East Coast to West Coast, and everything in between. And so we have a very robust VISTA team that we were able to recruit for and have successful service terms with all of our programs around the country, doing all of their great work in their communities, helping to end hunger in all of those different places. And then that continued into 2024, where we had another successful recruitment cycle. We didn't have summer associates this year, but we did have 38 full year VISTA slots, and we filled all 38 of them. And I'm very proud of the work that I did and my fellow teammates did to help make that happen. It was an incredible effort, and we have an incredible group of VISTA serving currently right now into the next year. And then we're just kind of setting ourselves up for success as we continue to move forward. As for myself, I am ending in about a month. On October 10th is my end of term. And as I said, that's because AmeriCorps is telling me that's the end of my term, not necessarily because I want to leave, but I know that I'm leaving our team and just AmeriCorps and communities in general just a tiny, tiny little bit better with the incredible work that I was able to accomplish, which I'm very proud of.
I mean, I can speak personally to like the seeming wizard. um, I mean, the amazing work that you've done as the recruiter. It looked like wizardry is what I was trying to say. Um, but like in addition to that work, I just know from working with you that I'm sure your vistas just benefited from having you as a guide and as their leader, as I have as being an associate of yours. Um, do you have any words of guidance or from your like long experience um, to give to the vistas? Anyone looking to do the 5 year stretch, maybe, or anyone who might even be struggling doing a 1 year stretch?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so like I'll be the first to admit that AmeriCorps service is not always easy. We know, of course, the financial constraints of, the limited income with the living allowance and all that stuff. It's difficult. It is a difficult thing to do and a very, very big commitment for a year or even beyond that. My word of advice would always be to just stick with it, that there's always peaks and valleys with Vista service. There's always like, I think that at the beginning they show like a little chart with like the hill and the waves, at the top and the bottom. Sometimes we'll find ourselves at the bottom of a valley, and it might be harder to see the big picture. It might be hard to see, okay, how do we like pull ourselves up out of that? How do we see like, okay, how is my work helping my community? I'm not seeing it. Rest assured that everything that you do, big, small, top to bottom, it's helping. It's helping your organization, and therefore it's helping your community. And so, even when it might not seem like it, please know that your work is valued, and you as a person and a Vista are appreciated. And so, when you're trying to find that way to like pick yourself out of the valley and back on top of the hill, just always keep in mind that everything that you're doing is important, it's appreciated, and you are important and appreciated. And that's something that is, I always want to stress to everyone who does this, past, present, and future.